Welcome to the All Source podcast.
Yeah.
Where we like to think we dive deep into a variety of
Deep dives, right?
topics. For you, the listener.
Precisely.
So if you're new here, welcome.
Yeah, welcome aboard.
If you're a veteran listener,
we
appreciate you coming back.
Thank you for being here.
I'm your host, as always.
And I'm the expert.
Today, we're going to be talking about something pretty exciting, I think.
I think so, too, yeah.
The F-18 Super Hornet.
Super Hornet, that's right.
As of November 29th of 2024,
it
has been serving for 29 years.
29 years, that's right.
Which is a pretty long time for a modern fighter jet.
Yeah, it's had quite a career so far.
We're going to dive into that today.
Yeah, let's take a look at where it came from, how it's developed, who's operating it, and what it's done over the years.
So it's not like a brand new aircraft?
No, it's not.
It's based on
an evolution, right? It's an evolution of the original F-18C and D Hornet, which first flew back in 1984. So the Super Hornet is a significant upgrade in terms of size, capability, and technology.
So the U.S. Navy wanted basically an aircraft that could complement.
That's right.
And eventually replace
the very expensive F-14 Tomcat.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. The F-14 Tomcat was primarily an air superiority fighter designed for fleet defense. The Navy needed something more versatile, something that could handle a wider range of missions, and the Super Hornet was their answer.
And so it first flew in 1995.
1995, that's right.
It's significantly bigger.
It's a lot bigger, yeah.
Than the original Hornet.
About 20% larger and almost 7,000 pounds heavier. That extra size allows it to carry more fuel, more weapons, more sensors, giving it that multi-role capability the Navy was looking for.
So what are some of the improvements?
Well, for one, it's got more hard points.
More places to attach weapons and other external stores. And then there's the engines. It's powered by GE's F-414 engines, which are actually based on the F-404s from the original Hornet.
Mm-hmm.
But they've been significantly upgraded to provide much more thrust. They also redesigned the engine intakes to reduce the radar signature, making it stealthier and more efficient.
So the intakes weren't just for looking cool?
No, not just aesthetics.
Yeah.
They were a functional improvement. And speaking of improvements, the avionics got a major upgrade too. The Super Hornet has much more powerful mission computers, allowing it to process data faster and handle all the complexities of modern network-centric warfare.
So they completely redesigned it on the inside?
Pretty much, yeah.
Right.
It's a whole new level of sophistication in terms of the onboard systems.
Okay, cool. And so who makes this?
Well, Boeing is the prime contractor, but Northrop Grumman plays a key role. They build the aft and center fuselage sections and the vertical tails at their facility in El Segundo, California. They've been a partner on the F-18 program since the beginning, back in the 1970s, and have delivered over 1,800 of these fuselage ship sets. It's a testament to their expertise and the longevity of this program.
It's a team effort.
It's definitely a team effort.
Okay, so we had the AB model.
Yeah.
We had the CD.
Right.
Now we have the Super Hornet.
Exactly. So the A and B models, those are the first ones they entered service with the Navy in 1983.
Mm-hmm.
Then came the C and D variants throughout the 80s, which had some incremental upgrades. Then in the year 2000, the Super Hornet officially joined the fleet, marking a major leap forward in capability.
And the Super Hornet has blocks like...
It does.
Block 1, Block 2,
exactly.
Block 3.
So the first Block 2 Super Hornet was delivered in April 2005. The big thing with Block 2 was the introduction of the ESA radar active electronically scanned array. That was a game changer for the Super Hornet. It allows it to track and engage multiple targets simultaneously with much greater precision and at longer ranges. It was fully operational by the end of 2007, and it really put the Super Hornet ahead of the curve in terms of air combat capability.
That's a big deal.
It is a big deal. ASA radar is a huge advantage in modern warfare.
Okay, so what about Block 3?
So Block 3, that's the latest iteration. Boeing delivered the first one to the Navy in August 2021. They have a contract for 78 of these Block 3 jets. The main focus is on networking and survivability. They're incorporating a whole bunch of new technology to make sure the Super Hornet can keep up with future threats. It's all about staying ahead of the game.
So they're constantly upgrading.
They're constantly upgrading.
And improving this aircraft.
That's right. It's not a static platform. It's constantly evolving to meet the challenges of a changing world.
So who's flying these things?
Well, the main operator is, of course, the United States Navy.
Okay.
It's their most advanced frontline carrier-based fighter, and it's expected to be the backbone of the carrier air wing for decades to come, possibly even into the 2040s.
So what are some of the
Oh,
squadrons
there are a bunch of them.
that are flying them?
Yeah, in the Atlantic Fleet, you got squadrons like the VFA-11 Red Rippers, VFA-31 Tomcatters. They took over the Tomcat name. VFA-103, Jolly Rogers. Those guys are famous for their skull and crossbones markings. And then there are others too, VFA-32, VFA-34, VFA-34, VFA-37, 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 VFA-1, VFA-83, VFA-105, VFA-131, VFA-211, and VFA-213. They're all flying Super Hornets.
And the training squadron?
Oh, yeah, that's VFA-106, the Gladiators.
Hmm.
They're responsible for training all the new Super Hornet pilots. They operate both the single-seat E model and the two-seat F model. And, of course, we can't forget the Blue Angels, the Navy's slight demonstration squadron. They switched over to Super Hornets, too.
Oh, wow. So they fly Super Hornets now.
They do. It's quite a sight to see them perform in those jets.
I bet.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond the U.S. Navy, who else is flying the Super Hornet?
Well, the first international customer was the Royal Australian Air Force, or RAAF.
Okay.
They got their first Super Hornets back in October 2021. This was a big deal for them because they were in the process of retiring their old F-111s. Those were capable aircraft, but they were lacking some key modern capabilities, things like advanced air-to-air missiles, anti-radiation missiles, and Link 16 data networking. The Super Hornet filled all those gaps, and with the F-35 program facing some delays at the time, it was the right choice for the RAAF.
So did they consider any other aircraft?
They did. They looked at the F-15E Strike Eagle as well, which is another very capable aircraft. But in the end, the Super Hornet won out for several reasons. It had better maritime strike capabilities, which was important for Australia given their location. It was also more cost-effective. And then there was the strong partnership with the U.S. Navy. As Air Marshal Jeff Shepard put it, the U.S. Navy basically offered them their bloody slots on the production line right away. That shows you how close the relationship is between the two countries.
Really all about relationships.
It is. It's about trust and shared interests.
Okay, and Australia also bought the Growler.
They did, yeah. The A-18G Growler, which is the electronic warfare version of the Super Hornet. Australia is actually the only other country that operates the Growler. What's interesting is that some of their early Super Hornets were actually wired for potential conversion to Growlers, but in the end, they decided to order new-build Growlers, instead 13 of them, including a replacement for one they lost in an accident.
Wow. So Australia's pretty invested in the Super Hornet.
They are. They're very happy with it. They plan to keep it in service for decades to come as a true multi-role aircraft. And they're even looking at integrating the long-range anti-ship missile, or LRSMM, onto their Super Hornets. That came out in their 2023 Defense Strategic Review. So, yeah, they're serious about the Super Hornet.
That's pretty cool. Okay, any other countries?
Let me see. Yes, the last current operator is the Kuwait Air Force. And they were actually already flying the older classic Hornets, the C&D models. So for them, going to the Super Hornet was a pretty logical step. They spent $7 billion to buy 22 E models and 6 F models, all built to the latest Block 3 standard. That gave them a significant boost in capability.
So it was kind of a natural upgrade path.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It made sense for them to stick with the platform they knew and leverage their existing infrastructure and training.
Okay, and any potential future operators?
Well, there's been talk about the Royal Malaysian Air Force.
Okay.
They're looking for new fighters, and the Super Hornet is on their shortlist.
I mean, it's a very proven aircraft.
It is. It's got a solid track record and a lot of potential for future upgrades.
Yeah.
So it's definitely an attractive option for a lot of countries.
Cool. Okay, so this thing has seen combat, right?
Oh, yeah. It's been in the thick of it.
Like, what has it done?
Well, the first operational Super Hornet squadron stood up in June 2001. And by July 2002, they were deployed on the USS Abraham Lincoln for combat operations in the Middle East. Their first combat mission was on November 6, 2002, during Operation Southern Watch. 2 F-18Es from VFA 115 attacked a surface-to-air missile site and a command and control bunker in Iraq. And what's really interesting about that mission is that it was the first time JDAMs, those were GPS-guided bombs, were dropped from Super Hornets in combat.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, it was a historic moment.
Mm-hmm.
And since then, the Super Hornet has been involved in pretty much every major U.S. military operation. It flew extensively in Operation Iraqi Freedom and Operation Enduring Freedom in Afghanistan. It was key in the fight against ISIS in Operation Inherent Resolve, and it's currently active in the anti-Houthi campaign in Yemen.
Mm.
Both the U.S. Navy and the Royal Australian Air Force are flying Super Hornets in that one.
So it's a real workhorse.
It is a real workhorse.
And it's not just a bomber, right?
No, it's not. It's designated FA for a reason, fighter and attack. It can handle air-to-air combat just as well as it can do ground attack missions. And it's proven that in combat, too, back on June 18, 2017, a U.S. Navy Super Hornet shot down a Syrian Su-22 fighter bomber. That was the first air-to-air kill for a U.S. Navy fighter since the first Gulf War back in 1991, and the first for any American fighter since 1999. It was a reminder that even in this age of high-tech missiles and bombs, the ability to win a dogfight is still important.
I mean, it's not like the F-14.
It's not a pure interceptor like the F-14 was, but it can hold its own in a fight.
It can still mix it up.
Absolutely.
Okay, so how about its weapons?
Well, for close-in fighting, it's got the 20mm M61A2 Vulcan cannon.
Oh.
It can fire 412 rounds per minute. And then there's the 11 hardpoints. It can carry up to 17,750 pounds of external stores. That's a lot of firepower. Even when it's landing back on a carrier, it can still bring back a significant payload, up to 900 pounds for the E model and 9,000 pounds for the F model. So it can return with unused ordnance or extra fuel tanks.
So what kind of weapons can it carry?
Oh, it's got a whole arsenal. It can carry a wide variety of air-to-air missiles like the AIM-120 AMRAAM, the AIM-9 Sidewinder, the AIM-7 Sparrow, and the AIM-174B.
Sure.
For air-to-ground missions, it's got things like the AGM-65 Maverick, the AGM-84 Harpoon, the AGM-88 HARM anti-radiation missile, the AGM-158 JSSM cruise missile, and the AGM-154 JSOW glide bomb. It can also carry various bombs, including JDAM's Paveways MKRA-80s cluster bombs, and even naval mines. And then there are the other things like external fuel tanks, electronic warfare pods, targeting pods. It's a very versatile platform.
So we covered a lot of ground here.
We did, yeah.
So you know the Super Hornet's a really capable aircraft.
It is. It's a real testament to modern engineering.
And, you know, the U.S. Navy and its allies are going to be relying on it for years to come.
Absolutely. It's going to be a mainstay of naval aviation for a long time.
But it does make you wonder what's next.
It does, yeah. What will the next generation of carrier-based aircraft look like?
Mm-hmm.
What new technologies will they incorporate? What kind of missions will they be designed for? Those are all questions we'll have to wait and see the answers to.
Yeah, it's an exciting time for naval aviation.
It is. There's a lot of innovation happening right now.
Well, on that note, I think we've reached the end.
I think so, too.
Of our deep dive.
A good one.
For you, the listener, if you enjoyed this journey
into the world of the Super Hornet,
please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube.
That's right. It really helps us out.
And of course, check out our extensive back catalog.
Yeah, we've got a lot of great deep dives on all sorts of topics.
And for more discussion, follow us on X, Instagram, and Threads.
We'd love to hear from you.
Thank you for listening.
Until next time.